Okay, next installment on the brand new food forest. There's been some torrential rain since last time, so I've upped the swale game. More berms, call them swales, and a lot of fava beans. All of this upper land, all of this upper land here is going to be in swales. I figured it out that while it might be unwieldy, I'll dig out some of them nicely like this for walking, and the other ones you can walk anytime. And all this ginger, and I'll be trimming up lower branches so the leaves, so the birds can fly. Um, that's that kind of silver gray one. That's a weed tree. I'll be chopping and dropping that, which just means chopping it and dropping it on the ground. And any weeds, any junk, all of that material can just go in the berms. It can go in the ditches, you know. And so then, when I'm weeding, I've only got to weed half of the area. It'll be earthworm heaven down there. The roots from the plants growing out the top of the swales they'll find what they're looking for as far as nutrients go. It's not too deep to go. Here you can see, I mean, this is so new. Here you can see, plants just coming in. And so that's as opposed to what I've done historically, which is make these sort of wells, whatever, for each tree. And I did that here, but this gets torrential rain, and it's not really helpful. I've never grown in a place that has too much rain. I've always grown in places that have kind of too little rain. So that's the way to go here. There's often just standing water that continues to be after days of no rain. So there's a raw area. All of that yellow, those are all corn corn cobs. So many piles of corn that I've created. Those are all compost piles. They're earthworm heaven. We also get a lot of wind, so I need to cut that Canna iberica canes. I need to cut that tomorrow before we get another torrential rain. Plus, red alert wind, and cut those and give each tree like one or two and tie them up. One tree has been destroyed, but it was above the graft, so it'll just be like 2 years behind. That's the thing for the upper land. All the, like, this area here blew out a bunch, and so that's why it's got all swales. And I think it'll handle the next rain. Maybe the whole land will hold, but there'll be less erosion than every single other past year. And that's why the soil is such a light color, and you'll see in future videos, I'll include it. The natural soil color underneath there is such a beautiful black. So, I mean, it can be quite a pile. And, I'll throw stuff on top of that. And these bigger ones, I'll probably just keep on composting, and have just some compost piles throughout the land, so you don't have to travel to the compost. So here on this flatter land, I think I'll be able to do my classic just beds. Nice wide beds, as as wide as I can reach. You see this major blowout? That's why I've gone nuts with swales. Just had a lot of things blowing out, just torrential rain. So these guys, my classic technique, that's a production monster. Just one bed like that. And so boom, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's what that will be. And asparagus is there and it'll get moved out. This bamboo, every year, with good luck, you know, God willing, every year I'll cut that bamboo all the way down to the ground. Suppose after it hardens up. And then all that leaf material, like I'll probably throw it on a pile right here on the road. You're starting to be able to see the road. It's getting somewhat defined. I know where it is. It'll be clear to everybody else later. But all of that leaf material will drop and become great compost. All of the fine little twigs will drop and become great compost. And as I say, I'll put it in between the swales there or on top of the compost pile, whatever pleases. And then any of the canes that I don't feel like using, burn them for biochar. But for a while, I'll be able to use the canes. I got one of those cane splitters that you just push down the bamboo splitters. You push down the bamboo, and this one makes 8, splits it into 8, and I'll make things with that. You see, it makes nice support. Got some kooky supports there for lima beans. In the tropics, you can grow lima beans all year long. And yeah, I really recommend fava beans. They're such a wonderful thing. They will hold space really nicely, and if even grass, which is one of the hardest things to pull, comes up next to them, it pulls out like butter so easily. So fava beans every winter, and I believe the summer's mellow enough that I'll be able to have them in summer too. So fava beans all year, which is just wonderful. Here's a time-saving technique. I just got a kilo of the local garlic, and I'm so busy, so I didn't bust them up. I just shoved them in the ground, and they'll root, and then they should be quite easy to divide, all rooted. But they're already doing their thing, you know. They've already been planted, and they won't mind a transplant. And that will save time because they're already going, and thus when I put them in their final position, they will be bigger, more able to compete, because for these alliums, garlic, onions, they absolutely can't stand competition at all. They're just a fine little wisp, and they're not photosynthesizing monsters like an artichoke plant or something like that. They need to be really weed free. So it will serve my purposes to have them sitting there growing as I'm preparing like a nice bed. And here's an example of how hard the rain is. Now there's no water coming down to them. All of these little onion bulbs were buried. They were buried, and one rain just revealed that whole bulb. You know, most of these bulbs have been just, it's brutal. So now I'm on a different program, knowing that I've got torrential rain, and I just love that I will not need to irrigate. It rains in summer too. I will not need to irrigate this land. And with the swales that are already here, basically, I've captured it all. I mean, all of the rain will be captured. You see, this is a blowout here. There were some really impressive blowouts all along here. I had to repair them. I shared some of the corn cobs with some neighbors that have chickens, but it takes too much time. Mostly I just shoved them on those piles. And so here is, this wandering Jew takes over the edges where they weren't running a tractor. And then here's uncultivated land with this ginger holds space really nicely. So I can cut the tops down brutally. And if you know ginger, it's got a fat rhizome. So it will still do erosion control even as I take it all. I'll take all this material and then it will move up to the land and I'll be gaining more land, if you understand what I mean, through that. Because this is growing on low ground, which has been lost to agriculture because it's steep, low, you can't reach it, and the tractor has only been going to the edge here. So I'll be pulling that up and making this ground even higher with that stuff. So like here is the classic of how I am going right to the edge and taking as much, keeping as much of the water as possible. And then this swale is not level, this is higher. And so this, right on the edge of the land, the rain that falls there, instead of going down into the stream, which is down there, and I can't wait to get all this stuff cleared. And then the birds will just love it. But as you can hear, birds, they're always going nuts all day long. It's not like they're singing like crazy in the morning and then they're singing in the evening. They are just going nuts all day long. And I can kind of understand because there's so much corn cultivated here and the harvest is pretty sloppy. They're just in huge bands eating like kings from all over the island. So I've never seen doves so huge. And I happen to love doves. I don't care how much, trouble they make on my garden. I love them. And they're everywhere in huge numbers. Plus all the little guys who are mostly the ones singing at the moment. But as I said in the other video, I believe, I've never heard such a chorus. This beats Kauai. This beats maybe Bali in my lifetime. In my travels might beat here. But it is just wonderful. So this water, it's a little inclined. So this water goes down into the land and is captured by the land, and it does not run off. And something to know, you could kind of, just logically conclude that the particles that are captured, that are conducted by water moving down a hill, those are the lightest particles. That's not the mineral material, that's the organic material. That's like the best, blackest, most fertile particles in the soil are what gets washed away. And so that's why you have this pallid soil here after I do not know how many years of corn cultivation in summer. When I came to this place, to this area, I saw that it was all pasture for cows, and I was happy. I said, pasture's great. That was May, and then I came back in July, and most of it was in corn, and I said, oh God, this is going to be a disaster. So they often have the sign of, and I won't name them, the different companies, and it's obviously GMO, and it's pretty nasty, the corn scene here, but whatever. This land is chemical free. It will be, chemical free from now on. And even with the fairly poor soil, it is volcanic. Plants seem to be doing fine. I observe the color of the trees, and they seem to be happy. Even they're getting beaten by rain all the time. So, but the fertility is going to explode. Give it 1, 2, 3 years, it's going to be ridiculous. So, just from chop and drop. So, a view up the hill, and there's your third update on the miracle food forest. You'll see miracles if you stick with it. Stick with this channel. All right. So blessings to you all, and have a lovely day. Ciao, ciao.